A lot of interesting points shared by the speakers. The commercial angle by Mr. Gupta and uh, technical by Mr. Verma. A lot of statistics and information by Mr. Upadhyay, and lot of interesting information about drying from Mr. Nageshwar Rao. Long-term seed preservation has always been a very important aspect in a seed company, but has been less focused. Uh, it's like the R&D material of the company is of prime importance for securing the future of the company. I mean, like there are a host of advantages of a long-term seed preservation. It's like you need not regenerate the seed again and again, and you can save on the cost, the time, the effort is saved. Like mislabeling and the misplacement is avoided, and you also have like the change in the genetic constitution and gene frequency. These are the some of the advantages of long-term seed preservation. We at Gubba are thankful that we are tying up with, as I shared earlier, like we're tying up with AIP, INP, CRISAT for technology support under the able guidance of Dr. Upadhyay for setting up a long-term preservation seed bank for seeds. Now I open the session for the delegate for any questions you have.
Can the mics be provided, please?
I am Dr. N.P. Sharma, representing Kaveri Seeds. The subject for the panel discussion is long-term preservation. As we understandably, this has a less relevance as long as the seed quantity is large. For example, seed lots of foundation seed and other things, we don't preserve for a long term. Whereas, in the case of the germplasm, the valuable genetic diversity to be preserved for posterity, it has a long-term preservation. Makes sense. That is how the existence of gene banks have come into. And this is the comment which I wanted to make, because fundamental, the foundation seed should not last long. It should be quickly disposed of. Why do you need a long-term preservation for those things? Second thing is, it has a relevance, as you pointed out, R&D material, genetic diversity to be preserved, or a segregating valuable material which are gene stocks of that kind, then the long-term preservation comes into, it makes a sense. I just want to have a question to Mr. Hari Upadhyay.
Sir, can you please hold the mic a little closer?
We have been talking about the viability test and monitoring and all those things. And that's everything is fine. But how do we measure the vigor? Because vigor is a very important thing without going through the in vivo test. Can we have a means to test the vigor when you preserve the in situ preservation of the samples?
I agree with you that when we conserve the seed and we test, say, a viability of the seed, but then while taking such observations, it's not simply that something plumule or radical comes out and then you consider that as a while estimating the viability. The viability for viability testing we do consider is when we have the normal seedling coming, and that's why our viability test extend to at least 2 weeks under standard condition testing by paper towel method. And that very well correlates when you go even for the field germination testing and thing. Vigor, seedling vigor after planting is different thing altogether. But if your initial quality of seed is good enough, then you will get vigorous seedlings as well. As I was mentioning that in case of orthodox seed, there is a very huge correlation between these two things. That if your seed is pretty viable, good viability, and as I mentioned that below 85% seed viability, in case of germplasm, we go for regeneration. So in that case, we do consider, and these are preferred international standards. Even in, I mean, most of us are very much fascinated by any example from US. But I can tell you the downside of the germplasm conserved in US is that the peanut germplasm which was being conserved at Griffin is in sorry state of affairs, because they lowered their germination to 65 and 75%. And peanut itself being the problematic crop for us as well, then sometime back they realized that the germplasm they are having in the Griffin is having only 30 to 40% germination. And at 30 to 40% germination, you can see very well that in the land races, even in the self-pollinated crops, your gene and genotypic frequency would be completely altered.
Venkateshwarlu, Sun Crop Sciences. Sir, Nageshwara garu, with your vast experience, I need a suggestion. Nowadays, most of the companies with the single crosses, they are going for crop drying and bringing the seed moisture to 9%. No problem. For both the seasons, it is valid. But there is a segment, cheap segment in the market, where three-way hybrids and double crosses are grown. Generally, these three-way hybrids and double crosses, they don't go for crop drying because of the cost. So farmers, it is going for sun drying only, and we do not know. Sometimes, the moisture level will be some 13-14%. If the seed as such, see, after shelling, if the seed as such is dried in the bins, will there be any deterioration or any cracking on the seed or the quality of the seed? Could you please advise us?
We have been doing some sort of earlier days when we were working in National Seeds Corporation and during 1967 to almost 80s. We were doing sun drying in shade actually. See, and then they used to have a long tarpaulins and keep the cups, and the inspector used to walk in the center and do the sorting also. As you rightly said, that where the crops does not want any temperature problem or temperature damage to the crops, you can dry in the sun. I mean, in the under shade actually, because there's no direct heat attack. But the problem is, at the time of drying, what is the temperature and RH is very, very important. If the equilibrium moisture is around 10 to 12 or maybe 12 to 13%, automatically in shade the crops can be dried, but you must watch for the, of course when you are drying in shade, there is no question of increase in temperature of the crop. But the problem starts in the night. So in earlier days, we used to heap them up and close again. Like that, we used to, on the third day or the fourth day, the crop used to get dried. And we can do a gentle shelling on that. I think all your important material, basic material, other things can be dried like that. There should not be any problem.
Little more clarification I want. You see, we are giving for production to the farmers.
Yes.
And our agreement is only to take the sun-dried seed. You see, afterwards, after the crop is harvested, they put the crops in shelling, and then extract the seed and give it to us. It may be having some 13-14% moisture or maybe sometimes higher also. The seed comes to us. Then the problem comes.
Yeah.
We want to reduce the seed moisture from 13-14 to at least 10%. What is the way? We cannot dry the seed in the open sun.
Yeah, that's also another point. That's why normally what we recommend, 12 to 14% use the crop dryers, shell it, and the loose seed can be dried to 8 to 9%. Not 8 is a little difficult unless it's summer. 9% you can do comfortably with a continuous flow dryer. But the problem comes the lot size. You can't mix the lot sizes. So you have to carefully select the size of a dryer so that it will take your lot. Suppose your 1 ton is the minimum, because in a continuous flow dryer, the dryer has to run full. And there is more uniformity, and there is a uniform drying. It is a medium thick layer, we call it. So the moisture gradient is very less if you take the inner layer to the outer layer. But the biggest problem is the selection of the dryer. Suppose if your lots are only 1 ton, do it 1 ton. Or 2 tons, you can go for a 2 ton dryer. But you can't mix 2 lots. That's a problem. So you have to be very judicious in selecting the dryer, and you can do it. Yes, please.
First of all, my sincere thanks to all the panelists for explaining the intricacies of long-term storage of the germplasm. Again, being a breeder, my question would be, since we handle very small quantities of germplasm, how do we really precondition all those samples before long-term storage? That is question number 1. Number 2 would be for this kind of commercial facility where suppose if say 10 or 20 companies, they deposit their germplasm, there is an inherent risk of having all the things at one place. So as an expert, what are your suggestions on that?
Frankly speaking, I am not an expert on long-term storage, but I know about it. Dr. Upadhyay is here. But I can tell you one thing. Basically, seed is hygroscopic, and temperature and humidity have an effect. I was talking about the initial experience of Gubba 20 years back. They can go to 4 degrees centigrade, but they have no control on the humidity. But still we stored the seed at that time. You know how we did it? We put the seed around 10-11% moisture in a big polythene bag, sealed it, put it in a gunny bag, and then put it. Almost we made the bag vapor-proof. Same thing, there are different methods, as I know, in germplasm storage, with cans, with different, I mean, when you go, even people go up to minus 20 degrees. I request Dr. Upadhyay to give more information on this.
Yeah, in fact, as I made a mention, at ICRISAT, we are conserving about 110,000 accessions in long term at minus 20 degrees Celsius. And we have these 5 crops, including a problematic crop like groundnut. But what we do is that after crop is regenerated in the field, we process and then through careful drying, that is in walk-in drying chamber, we put the seeds in the muslin cloth, and the temperature of the chamber is 15 degrees Celsius and humidity is 15%, 15. And within 4 to 6 weeks, the moisture content in the seeds will come to about 6 to 7%, which is really good. Again, before putting it into the long term, we test this for health, that some poor seeds don't go, and then vacuum pack it. We suck out the moisture, and then aluminum foils are there. We can pack the seed very well. And in case of sorghum, we tested that after 27 years of preservation, the initial seed which was kept has about 99% germination, and it remains almost 98 point something after 27 years. So we do believe, of course, there is a high differences between genotypes of a particular crop, and in case of sorghum, kafir, durra and kodatum will behave entirely differently under long-term condition. But that's the material of, that's the purpose of research. For simple purpose of conservation, at 5-6% moisture content, healthy seeds, vacuum packed, minus 20 degrees Celsius, you can easily conserve for 50 years. I have no doubt about it.
For the interest of the time, I mean, if you have any questions, you can ask Mr. Upadhyay in person. and we have a couple of small events right now. In next 5-7 minutes, we'll be proceeding for the lunch. And sorry for the delay.
May I please call upon Mr. Dharmendra on the stage, please, from Goldridge Seeds for the launch of the patent, please.
Mr. Dharmendra. It's gone there. Okay. The panelists to launch that. I'll request Mr. Nageshwar Rao to launch this. We at Gubba have applied for a patent for a cold storage system with the material handling system, with the ozone control, the pulse UV, like entire system as a whole. I mean, I cannot elaborate a lot more details on this. So we applied for a patent and I'm waiting for that. Yeah.
Now may I please call upon Dr. Mudassar of AIP IMP ICRISAT for the launch of the seed bank, please. Can we please have Dr. Mudassar?
Mazumdar, okay. Dr. Mazumdar, I'm sorry if I spelled it wrong. Gubba is having a technical tie-up with ICRISAT for technology tie-up for the seed bank, and we are signing the MOA right now here on the stage and handing over the MOA to Dr. Upadhyay and Dr. Mazumdar.
Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of our Director General of ICRISAT, Dr. William D. Dar, we take this opportunity to congratulate Gubba on its 25th year of celebrations. I also take this opportunity to welcome Gubba as a member of the Agri-Business and Innovation Platform, as part of the Innovations and Partnerships Program, and as part of this association which we have formalized today, ICRISAT shall provide Gubba with technical support, training, and of course, expertise of ICRIS scientists under the leadership of Dr. Hari Upadhyay in the area of long-term germplasm storage and preservation. So we look forward to a fruitful and mutually beneficial association, and together we shall strive towards improving the livelihoods of the smallholder farmers of the semi-arid tropic. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Upadhyay wants to say last few words.
Yeah, I'm indeed very happy to note that when last time we had discussions with Prasant, we were talking about how to see that germplasm of these private seed companies is also kept. Mind, I'm using word germplasm, not the commercial foundation of breeder seeds. Germplasm is kept at the preferred international standard, and I'm very pleased to be associated with that. All the best to Gubbas. Thank you.
Thanking Dr.